Ba da 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 ya da da. Your love will be da. Loin sur la terre, allons, devant la nature et devant la terre, l'obscur et le monde, la nature et devant le ciel. L'air obscur et devant la nature et devant le ciel. Oh, clair, oh, obscur, bleu, grand ciel, clair, obscur, devant la nature. Devant la nature et devant le ciel, clair obscur et devant la nature et devant le ciel, obscur et devant la nature et devant le ciel, clair obscur et devant la nature et devant le ciel, clair, obscur, true, blue, gras, clair, obscur, to devant your stew. Clair, obscur, to devant la nature, to devant your stew. Clair obscur, te devant la nature, te devant c'est. Clair obscur, te devant la nature, te devant. Expedition. The word itself implies a child's journey to adulthood. It literally translates from childhood to realization. You know, a lot of people throughout history have had to undergo horrific tasks in order to prove themselves to their societies. And I think that in many ways the word expedition carries that forth. So, let's get into it. You know, those two Israelis getting shot at the embassy made me think about how you were too good for me, and I'm gonna shoot my shot right here, right now. You know, it really sucks about that, because violence begets violence, and the guy thought he was being a Luigi Mangione. In reality, we don't need no more violence. We don't need no more bloodshed. It would be best if the Israelis would ride off into that sunset, realizing that they were in the wrong. Any violence beget against them would obscure that realization. And, you know, they definitely aren't the most important people in the world. They're definitely not one chosen by God no more. But as human beings, people made in the likeness of God, They really ain't got to be doing that. And naturally, they're going to continue to do that until somebody helps them realize that they're just being tricked. They're just being tricked by theosophists. You know, we go over theosophy a lot in this podcast, and I think that is important. I think that will be a very important thing that differentiates this podcast from other podcasts talking about politics and economics and stuff like that. We're talking about history, and we're talking about philosophy, and we're talking about the things that aligns hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think that is where the value of this ultimately is derived. Hey, did you know that you can move your hairline around wherever you want? And the cops can't stop you. Just in case one side is getting a little bit too much weather. Or getting ran over a little bit too much by grooming tools to actually heal. You can just throw your hairline to the other side of your head and presto. Hairs will start producing again. Dried up. You know, Bryn Daniels' hair is starting to grow back finally, which is good. But he's also been playing Power Wash Simulator for a week straight because he recently started ADHD medication, and that sucks. He legit looks like he's aged a decade in the last couple of weeks, specifically because of those amphetamines. And I love the man, but the behavior stabs me in the heart. Just naturally, I know. I have the wisdom, I have the experience to know exactly why what he's doing right now is not going to pay any positive dividends. Quite the contrary. And he's a great entertainer and a wonderful man and a genuinely good person who deserves to live on this earth and be happy, but I don't know, man. I don't want to see anybody, especially anybody that I love, on amphetamines. It's a needle. It's a needle in my heart. The more I love the person, the wider the needle is. Now, did you know ADHD isn't real? Think about it. You have a deficit of attention, yet you have an excess of energy? Just sounds like a lack of priorities to me. As somebody who is clinically diagnosed with ADHD, I can confirm it's really not a real thing. You see, we've known attention deficit is real. There is a stringent scientific paper denoting its correlation to petroleum-based food dyes in the system, and your brain's lapsing of short-term application is not coincidental, but in fact directly implicated by that particular poison. Something that your system has never really adapted to integrate. The person whose creation of the term ADD allowed him royalties on medication said on his deathbed that the entire business venture was made up for money. There's no genetic correlation. It's all made up for money. I trace a lot of the coordination for this back to Operation Paperclip, using bunk behavioral science to sort people into immutable anthroposophical categories, raising an entire generation on amphetamines. And you know, the incidents, it cut the birth rate of that generation of mostly European descendant men drastically, aligning to my other theory. The Nazis are Zionists and always have been. The Nazis never, ever have had white people or European people in their best interest. Never, ever, ever. And I truly believe that. I really, really, really do. Like Kanye West, retard. Nick Fuentes, God. He's not stupid, but he is manipulated. He is 100% off point. And the guy would be better off being taken out by a sniper rifle to the head. You know, Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, they'd be better off dead. The entire universe, all of humanity, would be better off if they were dead. But, you know, they're here, they're alive, they're doing stuff, and so we have to deal with them and the consequences of their actions. Which is to say, the Mexican Nick Fuentes and his talk about Nazism being integral to European identity and all that crap. We gotta deal with it. Gotta deal with it. We gotta deal with it, bros. So just try to tell the truth as much as possible and stay focused, because that crap will literally like take your focus and swamp it out with nonsense. You don't want that. Pretty silly how Israel changed Operation Iron Swords to Operation Gigolo Chariot or whatever the hell. Iron Age Troglodytes is more like it. It's astonishing. It's astonishing that people really co-sign that. It's astonishing that QE Farms made the turn that they did. You'd think, with the Deagle Nation culture as a core part of the website, they'd laugh their asses off and pound knife and fork on the table as the world finally gets sick of Israel's shit and holds the Jews accountable for the first time in a century. But no. We don't get that. Instead, we get confusion, conflagration, civil war, hatred, nonsense. That's what we get. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, people in power. You were the ones that could have chosen. Instead, the only person in any shape of power is willing to speak truth to it is somebody like Candace Owens. Somebody like Ewan Carroll. Because people like Nick Fuentes ultimately are not there to help, are not there to speak truth to power, but instead are there to drain off, divert as much power and liquid from moving towards the center as possible and drain it out. Don't matter. I have the distinct feeling that we're gonna get through all of this without many issues. It is wild, though. Nick Fuentes is apparently like, no, seriously, he's gonna be around for a while because guess what? He's from Chicago. He's Catholic. The new Pope, Chicago, Catholic. So, well, actually, like, he spent most of his time in Ecuador, and then what was that? What's that country above Ecuador? Peru. Below Ecuador. Peru. He's spent a lot of his time in Peru, but he was born and raised in Chicago. So, God, I don't know what to do about Fuentes, okay? All I know is You listen to this podcast, you might be Catholic, right? Stay away from Nick Fuentes. If you go back, episode 12, episode 24, we're in the dozens here, right? We're in the baker's dozen. Well, what I'm saying, stay the hell away from Nick Fuentes. It ain't gonna help you in any way, shape, or form. You only gonna make your life worse. And that's truth. So, the advice is still true today. Stay away from him. You know, if you're older, he's not a good kid. He's very likely a homosexual. He said horrible, violent, awful things. If you're younger, just know he received $500,000 and then helped January 6th become the new 9/11 and got punished 0% for it. Maybe 1%. Oh, you're on the no-fly list. Okay, you can fly again. A couple of months. Stay away from him. He's a Fed. He's a federal asset. He is totally in the pocket of the things that are destroying both our country, our culture, our religion, our entire world, our future, the future of humanity, the chance that humanity survives in perpetuity. Nick Fuentes is a demon. He's a sicko. He's a freak. He deserves to be 6 feet underground. Right now, today, right this second. Okay? That's from me, by the way. But for real, it really is a sicko. I think that the sad reality of why Jace from Deagle Nation doesn't want to talk to Null and is hanging out with Sam Hyde is that the Kiwi Farms has made a drastic, nasty turn towards this disgusting desert oasis, this troubadour projection. And Jace is intelligent. He sees that. He doesn't want humanity to continue along the same lines as the last 200 years. And so, why would he ever? Why would he ever align himself back towards the Kiwi Farms when all they've done over the last 2 years is align themselves towards baby slaughtering maniacs? Why? Like, listen, there is a anti-hero. I'm going to go against the modern populist talking point of the day. I'm going to go against transgender individuals. That's one thing. It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different thing to start consenting towards the slaughter of innocent and children and all of those who have been killed in the last year and a half. That is a drastic denigration. It is what it is. We can only try and do our best to do right by reality while we wait for our brothers and sisters to come back into alignment. Men don't stand on business anymore. Really? It started with orders, then fraternities, then guilds, then corporations, and eventually lodges. Lodges being the chapels for the new religion of conspiracy and occultism set up to replace Christendom, which has immense individual responsibility on top of social order. That's why strong men are rarer and rarer still. For instance, why would somebody ever join a gang? Still, the veneration of individual bravery and needing an entourage to move. Well, that's something that we saw in the 90s, but is looked down upon today. The Knights Templar and the Teutonic Order both employed Marianism in name only, to the letter of the law, but not the spirit of it. Oh, much so that after the Knights Templar was audited, the Vatican started leaning towards Spanish culture, caring about the home and the mother as the paramount feature of it. What a wise thing to do. The Teutons were deceitful brutes as well. Lying, deceiving, turning their back, and stabbing in the back of other Christian nations. Monsters. Horrible people. But the alignment that would cause Germany to be Germany. One only wonders what exactly happened there, as they were a coast, and everywhere around the coast had to worry about Venetian infiltration. You can call yourself a knight of Columbus all you want. But when Bill Clinton was speaking at all your lodge meetings, what were you going to do? Your masculinity was manipulated. Pimps would pulse through your streets, stealing your daughters and denigrating them with police protection. Real Marian orders have maintained their purpose and post this entire time, because a mother's wounded heart is the strongest thing in this universe. This shape of your mind only gets one shot, so are you going to be a culture crafter or a truth teller? Are you going to be temporary, or are you going to be permanent? The choice is yours. If I threw pocket sand at a cop, do you think he'd laugh or shoot me 57 times and then drive over me with his car? The most mentally ill population, both statistically, the rate of Ashkenazi schizophrenia is 40%. And easily recognizable from a non-expert, are calling the simple, honest Theo Vaughn mentally ill. You think that's reasonable? Good luck, BBs, hot BBs. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Oh, people have been talking about Diddy's pink cocaine. How elites traffic drugs on their private jets. And the FBI, DEA, and police know about it and protect them. You know that pink cocaine? It's probably methylone, an enthopathic research chemical. It's very easily obtained and pink in color. We better get this issue fixed soon. Otherwise, the entire country, the entire country, it's going to be one big Chicago, Los Angeles, Brooklyn. And that culture is demonic. You do not want that culture. Mass human sacrifice. Imagine giving birth to a child, raising them up, just for them to get shot in the streets at the age of 17. You do not want Chicago culture. You do not want LA culture where your children are being raped. You do not want Brooklyn culture where your children are being raised to participate and create legitimacy in cultures of rape and murder of youth and vulnerable people. You don't want that. Just keep away from that. I feel kind of bad for Klarna. They offered 0% loans to everybody and got taken advantage of, you know? Ultimately, can't do what I did when I was a kid. Literally anyone and everyone. You have to be somewhat discriminatory, as I was. I say naturally, but some people don't know this, but it's pretty natural. You have to be discriminatory. You know, French is a cunnilingus language. American is a real dick you down language. Ladies know this. I don't gotta tell no ladies out there, you know this. Did you know my name is Nathaniel David Mathews? It translates to gift of God, beloved, gift of God. Unfortunately, Nathaniel and Netanyahu are the same. Mine is just the English form. My blood is full of curse, but my ancestry remains noble, as the curse of man may never overshadow the gifts of God. All right, Joe. Seems like a good little spiel for today. Take care. Cheers.